All right, we have Jen Bergum in this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Bergum. Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I just automatically. I have a friend who is and it's Bergum.
Oh.
So that's why I borrowed that. I'm sorry.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nashville, though. I don't know if you're related.
No, probably not.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I just automatically went with, well, it's got to be the same.
I know. That's all right.
I should know better. We're in the north. That's
Yeah.
the SKJs for all the Norwegians and the Polish. Okay.
I know. I just started learning Norwegian, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah, I started learning. I've learned over 900 words. Thank you, Duolingo. I'm not paid for this, by the way.
What do? But maybe something will come out of
right?
it. All right.
Thank you so much, Duolingo.
Yeah. So what do you drink? Let's get that in there too. What can you say? Can you say anything like besides I have to go to the bathroom and can I order fish?
Yeah, I can say jeg har en skilpadde, which means I have a turtle. That was one of the first things I learned.
Which is like
Definitely.
As soon as you get over to Norway, that's like you have to know that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's before you know how to say I need a bathroom.
Right.
Which I still don't know how to say yet. So
she'll be over there going, I have a turtle.
Yeah. People just look at me like, what is this girl doing?
That girl's got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Just...
Great.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I have also been brushing up on my Spanish and my French. My Italian has fallen by the wayside. But
Okay. I did French in high school, and I think still all I know how to say is yes and no and hello. And then I know a few choice swear words.
Oh, yeah.
And I can
beneficial.
sing that really cool part of Billy Idol's Eyes Without a Face.
Nice.
Because that's French.
Yeah.
So...
There you go.
Yeah, that was cool in high school.
Yeah.
When I could do the, sans, yes, sans, les, sans.
Everyone's like, oh, my gosh.
Because that's French. That's French. I learned that.
Perfect.
So the reason I had you in is when I was a kid and I wanted to go into music and radio, everybody said, nobody from Duluth does that. And there was no support system around
Right.
And there is now. There's a better support system for everything. But I still hear from kids, high school kids, college kids say, well, I want to go into acting. Where do I go? What's the next thing I do?
Right.
And everybody thinks you have to move. You got to live in L.A. or you have to live in New York. And granted, you do need to do some of that. Yeah. But you don't necessarily have to. And there is a way to get into acting.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I did a lot of work at the Playhouse when I was living here. And I just saw some of my friends last night that still do a lot of work there.
Mm-hmm.
And there is so much going on in this community. They just, kind of started the Heart District downtown, which I think is beautiful.
And then with the North Shore back up.
Oh, I love the North Shore. I saw my very first movie at the North Shore. It was Snow White back when I was like 4 years old, and I still remember it. And I went to concerts when I was in college there, and I love the venue so much. So the fact that the Playhouse is really working to just kind of like get it back to its old glory is very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
And there have been movies that have been filmed in Duluth, tons of movies. Minnesota has great tax breaks, so there's that. So when people are filming, they're always looking for big tax breaks.
You do realize that I am a working extra. If you're looking for something, I have been in some very big movies, and had some prominent parts.
There you go.
I was blurry guy over right shoulder.
Yep.
It's a big part. It was that movie that North Country.
Oh yeah, yep.
When the hockey player is kind of perplexed why his mom is talking to Woody Harrelson's character.
Oh yeah.
If you look over,
I think I remember seeing that blur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was me, and I was chosen for that role because I had a brown jacket on.
And that's what they do. They'll be like, okay,
yep.
You'll see the director like talking to somebody, because technically the director is not supposed to talk to extras or anybody that they're technically not, on their payroll. And because if they do, then they basically have to give you a principal role pay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very careful about that. You'll see the director just kind of, lean to the side, his hand over his mouth, and, start talking to one of either the assistant director, a PA, just say,
well, I think we got some page or something. He had a clipboard and a piece of paper, and he wore headphones kind of like yours with a little mic. And, and he had a little wireless thing on, and you could constantly hear people talking in his headphones.
Definitely.
And he came over to us and he said, you, and you. And really, we had just broken the telephone rule.
Oh.
My buddy, his telephone went off, and he was like,
oh, no.
trying to get rid of it. And so we thought, we're so busted, they're going to kick us out. Because he came over right away, you, and you. And we're like, and they go, you all look like you're from the Midwest. We want you right over in that section over there.
Great. You're like, well, we are from the Midwest.
Yeah. So in between, because takes are so far apart.
Oh, yeah.
That we all started talking, and we were all in radio in some way, shape, or form.
Nice.
It was really strange.
Oh,
yeah. But I've done that. I did Iron Will.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. My dad, one of his best friends, was in the scene where they're, sitting the night before, and they're all eating dinner, and Harry had to eat a piece of pie for 4 hours, and he was like, the pie was so good, it was really hard to not eat the whole thing all at once. I just had to take these tiny little bites for 4 hours, just sitting there trying to eat this one piece of pie. Oh.
I was Guy buried in the back because I still haven't found myself. I don't even know if they used the part that I was filmed at.
Right.
I did a movie in Berlin, Maryland.
Oh.
Sissy Spacek is in it.
Oh,
and they redid the whole town to make it look old and put dirt on the roads and everything. I played left elbow.
Nice.
Because it was prominent in the scene, and I thought I was good in the role, really.
There you go.
Yeah. And I was in some Nashville movie where I had to square dance.
Nice.
And now I can't remember her name. It was one of the first movies she ever did, Miss Congeniality.
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like one of her first movies. She was really young, yeah.
Wow.
And we never got to really see the star. We just kind of did the scene, and then I think we danced around, and then they had them in. So I never got to see him, never got to meet him. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just worked on Ocean's 11, and Sandra Bullock was right there and just looked absolutely gorgeous. Because she's, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most stunning women ever, and she, she's getting older and still looks fantastic. And I'm just like, okay, are you drinking the blood of children? Like, what is going on here?
Exactly. You ever seen, I think it's called Death Becomes Her?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder.
A little bit like
they have to drink that serum, and then they're always young. Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
No, I think Sandra has stuck around because she's beautiful enough to get the lady roles, and she's tough enough to get the action roles.
Exactly. And she's just such a great actor. Like, she definitely is amazing at comedy. She's this brilliant comedic actor. And then also, gets you by the heartstrings.
Yeah.
And in Gravity, I was just sitting there in the theater, just like gripping my seat the whole time. I'm like, come on.
Can you imagine selling that script? Okay, it's one person the whole movie.
Yeah. Right.
Or let alone getting that part.
Exactly.
And then going,
it's
wow.
me.
Yeah.
The whole movie.
Except for George Clooney in 10 minutes of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
No spoilers here. It's okay. Don't expect a lot of George Clooney in that movie.
Yeah. So you've done some stuff. It's somewhat big lately.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny. I've done a lot of commercial work in Pennsylvania. They love me in Pennsylvania. It's that whole Midwestern. Hey, I'm so good and wholesome look. So I've been doing a lot of that. I also have a day job, that pays my rent. Because New York prices.
Yeah.
Everything else you can get for really cheap. You can get dollar pizza wherever you go. You can see shows for free. You can pretty much, go wherever you want. Rent is ridiculous.
Yeah. What do you pay?
I have a roommate, and we pay $2,300 for a 2-bedroom.
$2,300 each or $2,300 together?
No. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay.
I pay $1,100. He pays $1,200 because he has the bigger bedroom.
Okay.
So,
wow. Yeah. Because I've heard of people saying, "Oh yeah, I pay $2,500 and I have a roommate."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know people that pay $5,000 to live in Manhattan. I live in Queens, which I love. I had a friend that came out to visit me from here, and she was like, "You live in Queens? Oh my gosh, are we gonna get shot?" I was like, no, Becky, we are not.
That's Long Island.
That's Staten Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, nope. I live in the area is called Astoria, but we like to call it Actoria because there's a lot of actors that live in the area.
I watch Law and Order, so I know that area very well.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah.
And I guess my question would have been the same after watching Law and Order.
Oh yeah.
Are we gonna get shot or killed?
Half the time I wonder.
Maybe for the apartment. Wow, really? You're only paying $2,300?
And scene. That's it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jen just got shot, so we can't hang on this anymore.
Yeah. The nice part is everything packs up really well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's so funny because you think about that there are so many things that are filming in New York right now because tons of people have asked why didn't you move out to LA? I went to LA. I'm not a huge fan. I would go there. Don't worry. Like I would always film anything there.
Right.
But everything closes so early.
And it's a different flavor.
It really is. And I love New York so much because the energy is just so insane half the time. Like you never know if you're going to get on a train and there's going to be a homeless person threatening to like shoot up the train. That actually happened to me the other day.
Wow.
That was fun. Just because I asked him to stop smoking on the train, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There are some stories.
Here's a whole pack. Keep it up. Here you go.
Exactly, right? But you could also like get on the train and then, nobody's talking to each other. And the trains have been absolutely horrible lately. So every time I've gotten on the train in the last 2 weeks, there's been some kind of problem. There's a track break. There's, a passenger injury, which you're like, okay. You never know if it's somebody having a heart attack, somebody jumping in front of the train. Like it's a crapshoot.
Right.
But then, it's funny how New Yorkers will just like come together in times like that because we're all so angry about it that we're like, ugh. One woman was like, well, they'll figure it out eventually. And then I said, no, they won't. And then everybody started laughing. And then we're all talking. And it's like, oh, this is such a nice little New York moment where everybody's just like forgetting about their life and talking to each other.
So let me ask you this. Is it kind of like two brothers? They hate each other. They pound the crap out of each other. But then you attack them and both of them are against you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so true. Because we're all in it together. So
right.
It's like no matter how much you hate the person sitting next to you for like eating a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich and you haven't had breakfast, you're like, ugh. And then, you're just like, oh, I hate that person so much. And then all of a sudden they say something that's so profound or just like, so nice. They're like, oh, I like your shoes. You're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And then you're like best friends on the train for the next 5 minutes.
Right. Can I share the sandwich? Here you go.
I've had like, I love those stupid little Happy Cola candies. They're like the little gummies.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had those on the train before. And, I was just sitting there and somebody kind of looked at me and I looked back at him and I just kind of held the bag out. He's like, hey, thanks. Because, why not share? It's
right,
great.
Right.
Sharing is caring. Perfect.
So is New York the choice because of what you want to do?
It is. So I obviously I'm a musical theater girl, and I love musicals. Singing, dancing, just making a fool out of myself is one of my favorite things. So
geez, that sounds like my job here.
Yeah, right. We all like to do it on a daily basis.
Right.
And then as soon as I moved out to New York, I realized it is extremely hard to actually get auditions. You can't just go out there and, go into a room and, sing like Catherine McPhee. And,
hi, I'm Jen. I'm here, and I'm the answer to your, yeah.
And here I am. You're welcome. It takes a lot more. When you first get there, it's a lot of early mornings. You wake up. There'll be, some kind of audition for the day. And so if I'm non-union because there's no union playhouses around here. So it was like, I just kind of had to show up at 5 or 6 in the morning.
So if you were union, would they tell you about some of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it like now that I've been there for a little while, I actually, casting directors have started to get to know me because, I go in for auditions. And you can also, you can submit for a time slot, which is so much better than just like going and spending the entire day there, crossing your fingers and hoping that they're going to see you. Because usually the auditions start at 10. So the doors open at 8. If you're non-union, you get there at 6. And you sign up on the unofficial list, and then you're standing there for 2 hours waiting for the door to open. And especially, in March in New York, it can get a little breezy and a little cold.
Yeah.
And then you get inside, and then you sign up on the official list.
Okay.
Like, all right, now I actually really have a spot. And then you have to wait for the union people to come in at 10 and start doing their auditions. Once the union is done, usually it's after lunch, which is about 1 o'clock. So you've already wasted half of your day.
Right.
And then, you stand outside and you're all in your little line or just, kind of hanging out. And girls have their hair in curlers. And, it is like something out of a movie. You're like, they go to the bathroom, they have their curling iron. It's like all of a sudden they're this whole new person, because, they got up at 5 a.m. to come to this audition.
Right.
And then they will sometimes do what they call typing, and they grab everybody's headshots and resumes. They bring them into the room with, whoever is in there. It could be the casting director, usually the director is not in there at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they bring it into the room. They'll, just kind of like look at the pictures and be like, yes, 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 no, 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 yes, maybe. Flip it over, see if, your resume is okay. And they're like,
So this is why I had seen on your Facebook one time you had many, many different styled shots. So this is why you do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, because obviously you have a certain type that you're going to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you can play different roles and you actually look like those roles, it's better to have a couple different shots. We have commercial shots, which obviously are more geared towards TV, film, and commercials, of course.
More headshotty, right?
Yeah. And then there's what we call legit or theater shots.
Okay.
Which, you want to kind of like convey that you're this nice person, but at the same time, if you're more apt to play, like the evil roles, which I always wanted to do, but I'm just too nice looking.
See, and I think the evil roles would be harder because you don't want to be the cookie cutter evil person, but you want to make it interesting.
Exactly.
And the nice person always seems to be interesting because you have to like them.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the funnest roles that I ever got to play was Milady, or the Countess de Winter, the Rebecca de Mornay character in The Three Musketeers.
Okay.
And it was so great. Number one, it was here in Duluth. Obviously, special place in my heart. And my dad was actually in the show with me.
Oh, wow.
So it was amazing. And I got to slap him. And I was like, Dad, this is for everything you've ever done wrong.
Method acting.
Method acting. My dad's great. He's fantastic. So, of course, I didn't hit him that hard. But it was a lot of fun. But yeah, just like playing something out of the normal, roles that I was playing was so great and just, absolutely fantastic. So, yeah.
So now, did your dad ever want to go into acting and didn't, or did he just?
Well,
what's the story there?
We have like a long line of actors in my family. My grandma used to act.
Okay.
She was one of the reasons why the Playhouse is around today. She was actually just honored. Unfortunately, she passed away last year.
Okay.
But before that, she was actually honored by the Playhouse for all of the work that she did because they wanted to shut the depot down. And she and another woman actually single-handedly went in front of this massive group of men, way back when this was not done, and said, this is what we want to do with this. She went traveling around and, looked at different train depots and what they had been, doing with them. And they basically, these two women, without anything, just decided, yeah, we can do this. They did all the funding. It was amazing.
Wow.
And then, just kind of saved the depot and got all of these amazing things in there. So when I started acting in the Playhouse, I didn't know all this. And then all of a sudden she got an award probably like 20 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know what she's getting an award for, but
yeah,
and then I found out, and she was published in, all these different books. And I was like, wow, all right, this is
I think I remember seeing something about that. I get emails from, I want to say it's like This is Duluth or something like that. And they kind of have the history every year. And I remember seeing this year back then, she got the award and everything. And I had no idea.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my grandma.
Okay.
Really cool lady. But yeah, so my dad used to act in high school, but then he went into the military, had a family, just kind of did that, and then he became a teacher. So for all of you guys that know Mr. Bergum, that's my dad.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've had so many people that have come up to me and said, your dad is the coolest teacher ever. And I've told him that so many times. He's like, okay, that's great, but did they learn anything?
Right.
Because I guess he was kind of like the Robin Williams character,
Oh, gotcha.
Would, walk on their desks. They would have like fake wars and, throw paper at each other from the other side. I'm like, I want my dad as a teacher. This isn't fair. Like, he didn't do this stuff with me, even though like I definitely got his history buffness from like.
See, now that would be weird to like be in your dad's class.
Yeah. He was a student teacher when I was going to East. And so I would see him around the halls every now and then. And I'm like, this is a little strange. But I never actually had him as a teacher except in life. So
right.
There's that. Yeah.
And so did, obviously, your family was way behind you when you wanted to do this. They were,
oh, yeah.
Here you go.
Especially, of course they didn't want me to move away. They're like, and I had a great job. I was working for the city. I kind of had it made. At the time, I was actually engaged. And my dad sat me down one night and said, okay, how do you know that, this isn't just like a passing phase, that this is, because he had told me about his dream about being a fighter pilot and how he kind of gave that up for my mom because she would not marry him
Right.
if he was a fighter pilot. And he said, that was one dream that I knew that I could give up because I wanted this more. And he's like, you have this awesome job, you have your fiance, blah, 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 all this stuff. How do you know that this is just something that you can let go for something better? And I looked at him and I said, Dad, I don't know how I know. I just know. And he looked at me and he said, okay, good enough for me.
Yeah.
That's like, thanks. And they have been,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That he did that.
Oh yeah. And like, I love my dad so much. I love my mom too. They're just the best parents anybody could have. So when I said, yeah, I want to do this, they 100%, 120% were behind me, and have been there ever since. Like my mom and dad came out to visit me, and they drove out there because they were, they went to go see my aunt and uncle in Georgia, and then like kind of did the little East Coast tour.
Okay.
Stopped in Philly and Boston and DC, and then they came to me. They drove home, and my dad literally turned around, packed up a whole bunch of my stuff in the van, drove it back out to New York with my fiance at the time, and then drove home again. So it was just like constant back and forth. And I'm like, he even said, he's like, well, I'm just going to, drop the stuff off and drive back. I'm like, no, you are going to sleep first.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to die on the way home. But yeah, like, I mean, that's the best kind of person, who's just willing to literally go certain lengths for you.
Yeah.
And, just, like every time he's like, how are things out in New York? How are things, how are things with you? Are you good? Like, do you need to come home yet? I'm like, oh, good, Dad, thanks.
See, that's nice, though, that you've got all that support, but you still know the door's open.
Exactly.
Yeah. If it doesn't work out, you can't pay the $2,300 in rent.
Yeah,
right.
And there is the little, hey, you could always move to Chicago. I'm like, I could.
But it wouldn't be as good.
But it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah. Although now Chicago has got that line to New York.
Chicago is doing great. I mean, they've got tons of things that are filming there. Obviously they have a massive theater scene. So yeah, I mean, it's really great because there are so many places that you actually can act, obviously in Duluth, there's tons of places that do theater.
And it wasn't that way.
No. Oh my gosh. When I remember when I was little, I absolutely hated going to the Playhouse. It was terrible because, I mean, the shows weren't that great. It was just kind of like, there's some people on stage and I don't really know what's going on. And, but since Christine Seitz has come in and just, done a complete overhaul, she's done an amazing job. And I just saw her last night actually. And she made me cry. It was like, she said, everything that we've talked about, everything that you were here for when we were talking about is happening now.
Wow.
And she's like, you were one of the foundations that helped us do this. She's like, you stood by us when, we weren't sure what was going to be happening. And she's like, I appreciate you so much. And I just lost it because I was like, this is a woman who I've looked up to who gave me a shot. I was like 18, 19 when I did my first show at the Playhouse. And I was, I was just I was Cha-Cha in Grease. Like, I wasn't a big role. It was just kind of.
But it was something.
But it was something. And it was somebody who gave me a shot. And that's all I needed. And, after that, like, I made so many friends. My friend Sarah Marie, who was in that show with me, was there last night. And, we were just hanging out and having a great time. We went to go see Sweet Charity. I would highly recommend going see it.
I was going to say, I've heard that's good.
It is very good. I would go see it. But yeah, it's, just the fact that there are so many things happening that I remember when we were just talking about it. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting time in Duluth. And I mean, with the music scene, with Homegrown going on, it's everything is just so
we just got a wing of the CMAs to come up here now. We have the Midwest CMAs,
Nice.
So I've been lucky enough to be in on that starting. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I just went to go see Home Free the other night. My sister surprised me with tickets, and I went to school and was in choir with one of the guys with Rob.
Okay.
And so that was pretty awesome, seeing him up on stage. And, it's like all these people that I knew way back when.
I just want to say I discovered them.
Yeah.
Not really, but I'm going to say that. they were just kind of singing, and they came up here to do their first concert, and I had them in the studio to sing.
Nice.
Yeah, and because nobody knew who they were,
Right.
so they wanted some kind of radio support.
Yeah.
So I got them to come in and sing Christmas songs.
Oh my gosh.
And so they performed here, and then a little bit later is when they won that national contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, you saw them here first?
Yeah, there you go. It's perfect.
Yeah. So I will always say that I discovered them.
I will accept that.
Until they deny it. And they haven't yet. So
Yeah, right?
there you go.
There you go. That's all you can ask for.
Perception. It's
Yes.
all about perception. So
9/10 of the law? No.
one of the reasons I wanted to have you in, like I said, there's places you can go, and so a lot of people are saying, well, what do I do next? So
Right.
what would you recommend? Obviously, get in the Playhouse.
Exactly. Yeah. The Playhouse, Renegade, any one of those, they're both amazing places to act. And to just kind of get your foot in the door and see, what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Playhouse is a little more classical theater, and then Renegade is this amazing experimental.
Yeah, Rubber
place where-
Chicken, and
Exactly. Yeah, Rubber Chicken is great. Brian Matuzak, I've worked with several times. He's a wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do. Oh my goodness.
He is. Nobody really knows this except people who've worked with him.
Yeah.
Phenomenal writer.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I mean, good actor and everything.
Yeah.
Phenomenal writer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do. I think they still do the Chicken Hat plays.
Yes.
Which is
Mhm.
so much fun because it's just this whirlwind of a weekend where, it's like it's improv and writing and acting and everything all mixed up together. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just pretty much doing anything. People are writing their own stuff and producing their own stuff. Which is huge everywhere. Like you can do that anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an idea, write it down. Just start working with it. It doesn't even matter if if you don't think it's a great idea, it might be.
I always find that some of the things that I spend so much time to like bits on the radio,
Yeah.
go over and done.
Right.
But then I'll do something really that I consider dumb, and it's like, oh, I just wasted 2 minutes of my life, and I'll get letters upon letters. Oh, that was so moving, or oh, I laughed so hard.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, you can go down to the Twin Cities. Obviously, it's one of the biggest theater scenes in the country. We have the Guthrie, we have the Pantages Theater. I mean, there are theaters all over the place down there. There are a lot of actors from here that are going down there. And just, getting their acting chops just put out there because there's so many amazing actors here that people don't even know about.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about social media for acting?
Social media and I have a tumultuous relationship.
Okay.
It's interesting because lately there's been this thing where they ask you how many followers you have on Twitter, on Instagram, on all of this. And I take classes. I take a lot of classes with casting directors. And a lot of them say that it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain, commercials that want influencers, and they want people with 50,000 followers or more, 100,000, like 1 million followers. And for most actors out there, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to...
You would almost have to upkeep your page.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
YouTube
it's like
and everything.
a full-time job,
Yeah.
basically. So for these people that are out there that are constantly posting things, and you think about people like Jenna Marbles, who she's hilarious. I just got to meet Eliza Schlesinger, who is one of my favorite comics. She is fantastic. She came into my work and gave me free tickets to her show, and I died. So, I have a picture of her and me on my Instagram because she was just so wonderful and kind and sweet. And I'm like, if I was a lesbian, I would fall in love with you right now. I am a little bit. I mean, not a lesbian, but in love with her.
Right.
Total girl crush. Just because she's so funny. And it's interesting. She also gave copies of her book out at her show.
Okay.
So everyone that was there got a free book, and I read it in a day. I was just like, this is hilarious. It's just like seeing her talk on stage,
And Maria Bamford came from this area.
Gosh. Oh, I love her.
Yeah. She's
so quirky and just so funny. It's It's awesome because in New York, there's a very large population of Minnesotans. So I remember being in a cab. The guy wasn't from Minnesota. I think he was from Nigeria.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I realized that he was listening to Garrison Keillor. And I was like, I'm sorry. Are you listening to get? He's like, yes, I love Garrison Keillor. He's fantastic. And I'm like, all right, like this is kind of awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in today. I like I said, I like showcasing people that are doing their dream. They're going after it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I've always gone by the saying, you got to be satisfied with your level of success. So, but I like the fact that you're reaching for it.
Yeah.
And I want to show people that there are people doing that and there are ways to get there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like take acting classes, You
have to put in the work, basically.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing is, you have to do the work. You can't just expect that you're going to be Jared Leto delivering a pizza and somebody's like, hey, you look like the person I need for my movie. Exactly. I mean, that happens once in a million times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is nice to be at the right place at the right time, but you also have to be prepared.
But if you're doing the work, you are in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And, do you want to promote any websites or more likes so that it'll help you get a job?
I am Jen Bergum on all social media. So, Instagram, Jen Bergum, Twitter, Jen_Bergum. I know, it's very fancy.
Yeah. Well, you actresses, I don't know.
We have to do some things,
right? Set you apart.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for that underscore, we never would have hired you for this play.
Never know. So, and JenBergum.com. Feel free to go and check me out. I'm also on IMDb as Jen Bergum. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just found out I'm on IMDb.
Nice. Was it for Blurry Man and Behind?
Well, no, I'm still rallying to get those in there.
Yeah,
and I may just put extra, and then put the part I played. But no, actually, I helped with. I was the music director and the sound effects guy for an independent movie in this area. Yeah, and so they put me on IMDb as like the sound engineer or something like that. So
definitely,
I know I have a resume in show business now.
You're perfect. You're
I know. Hasn't earned me anything, but that's all right.
Right, but it doesn't hurt.
Exactly. Just like I discovered Home Free. But anyway.
You hear that, guys?
Yeah.
Send him a present.
Well, thank you again.
Thanks so much, Chris.